guys, thanks for tuning in. Not safe for work weather with a premium update. We're just going to talk pretty briefly on some of the changes. We do still have some time, quite a few days before the actual event on this potential threat midweek. There are still quite some disagreement in terms of model output, which wave to focus on, etc. This is a quick snap of that time frame for the Euro. As you can see, the trough digs much deeper. It wants to close off over Virginia. If we look right around there, we can see we want to close off here, which should be pumping up a good amount of energy into our clipper. And then we're going to start digging further south, which is going to enhance some snow into the mid-Atlantic. It's not the same system. Two separate areas of low pressure, two separate storms technically, but different stream interactions, which I think could be our best case scenario. Our best shot is basically what the Euro is showing. I do think that having the second wave that rounds the base of the trough, basically the energy associated with that, if I can get my clicker back here, that would be awesome. The energy associated with that's down here. Okay, and as you can see, it rounds through, but that's going to be well out to sea. All right, it pulls it well out. But you are going to get some snows down into the mid-Atlantic, obviously, as the European shows. If we go in here, we're going to start to see snow up into New York, northwestern Connecticut, into New York City, northern New Jersey, and some better enhancement up here on the eastern side of this piece of energy here. Here's our other piece of energy down here. Unfortunately, this is not going to round the trough in time. We can see our trough is pretty positive still on the Euro. So our best shot is a close off at 500 with some coastal enhancement for the northwestern sections of the Northeast, especially New England, Hudson Valley, northern New Jersey, and northeastern PA up into New England. The other shot will be this piece of energy. If it can round off close enough, and if the Euro is correct and we close off here and try to round some of that energy back into Virginia, West Virginia, parts of out around by the Delmarva, southern Jersey, and southern PA. The big question is which one is right, because the GFS looks very different. If we go to the GFS, you can see our energy does not close off. The entire flow stays very progressive, and we go out as a sheared, elongated wave. Basically a clipper. That low pressure system never really enhances until it gets too far out and it's long gone. We start to get some enhancement out here, but that's really about it in terms of the GFS. GFS drops a few inches. However, the GFS has been playing catch up. The GFS was at an elongated upper level low, stretching all the way across the region with just a light clipper system pushing through. This has started digging significantly compared to previous runs. So it is something to keep an eye on. Several other models have a similar 500 setup. The NAM is pretty similar in 500. It's a good even ground between the Euro and the GFS. However, it does not close off, so you don't see as much enhancement to the north and the east for our original clipper. If we move forward from there, excuse me. Again, this is the European. This is today's run. This is 18Z and OOZ. Basically, there's a lot of energy to work with. Unfortunately, it is positive. We can see the trough is positive. However, once we get towards OOZ, we kind of get it a little more towards neutral. It's still positive. It's still fairly positive, but it's better than the GFS. The GFS is very positive. It just pushes out. And the system here, okay, is in a much better position in terms of what we want. So if we go here, this system is really strong, diving into our heights, and it's causing a problem. The energy, similar, is diving down south, and you are going to see some enhancement along this boundary. However, again, European, much better. Sharper trough, digging a little bit further, and a stronger, more consolidated piece of energy down south. The European will again show a little bit more snow into the mid-Atlantic, Virginia, West Virginia, Delmarva region, southern New Jersey. And then it shows also a little bit more snow up into New England, Hudson Valley, even around New York City. Temperature-wise, if we actually take a look, when it comes to snow, we won't need much, especially north and where it's showing most of the snow north and west of New York City. Let me just get it out for you. This line here is basically your -10 or higher, and then we're right in the low 20s same time. So I'd say anyone 45 miles north and west of New York City, or I-95 even west of I-95, into this area here. So pretty much anybody that sees any accumulative snow should not need an entire boatload of liquid equivalent in order to get some decent snow. 0.2 would probably get you 3 to 5 inches. 0.3, 3 to 6, 4 to 6. That's why the European, if you look at the maps, it's spitting out a little bit more, around 3 to 6 for most of the areas, with some lollies around 6 or 7, even a little bit more. Because ratios are going to be fairly decent, just like with the last storm prior to this one that we had, where we were talking about high ratio snows. It's not going to be as great, but it's still going to be pretty cold. So that's something to keep an eye on. Oh, sorry about that. This is my current thoughts now. I put out, obviously the forecast changes, so updates change. Nothing's going to be exactly the same as we forecasted or discussed it 5 days ago, or a few days ago, even for that matter. But my thoughts haven't changed all that much. My swath of heavier snow has obviously diminished a little bit because we're just not going to get that trough to go positive. I don't see it happening. Is it still possible? Yeah, we could see some crazy changes at 500, but we would need some significant changes at 500 in order to get this trough to even go neutral at this point. These are my thoughts. These are from 2 separate low pressure systems. Okay, so what we're looking at here is most of the cutoff would be right here, for example. This entire area is going to be getting snow from the enhanced clipper. There's going to be a swath of snow stretching northeast to southwest. As the low pressure, as the energy comes through the area, there's going to be a weak area of low pressure. I believe the strongest I saw was about 1020, 1018. There are some obvious ensemble members that have it stronger and things like that. So you take a rough average, the mean of that, and you're getting around 1008, 1012, something like that. So a pretty weak area of low pressure. However, there's a lot of energy still to work with, even though the pressure is going to be, even though the pressure is not going to be that strong. There is quite a bit of energy and quite a bit of moisture to deal with, especially if this low happens to develop a little bit closer and a little bit stronger to the shore. The best shot at anybody up into the Hudson Valley, northeastern PA, northern New Jersey, into New England is this low pressure system developing just off Long Island or even just over Long Island. If you're in the city and points surrounding, especially coastal Connecticut, you'd like to see this low pressure system develop a little further south, but you also want it fairly far west. Your best lift is going to be the northwest of the system. So as it stands right now, I'm going with a swath of snow basically in the Hudson Valley up through northwest Connecticut into New England, into parts of northeastern New England, and then up a little further into the Hudson Valley of about 3 to 6. It's no particular model in general as to those thoughts. I do still favor, if you wanted to pick, I do favor the European a little bit over what the GFS is showing, because although it doesn't have the large quantified liquid output that it was showing days ago, the Trek and 500 has generally not wavered that much. It's just not as amped, and it's a little bit more progressive. You can't really say the European has trended to the GFS, because the GFS was way out there in left field, way out, and it's kind of pulled towards the Euro, and models, as they always do, are starting to slowly find even ground and converge on a solution. I still think that this is the most likely outcome from what I can see, and I'm also basing this off of temperatures as well. Nobody's going to get a boatload. No one's going to get 0.5 or 0.6 until you start and get into eastern New England, which it's very possible that the reason I kept totals down here is I do think that as the low pressure pushes through overhead, I do think it could be a little bit warm, and some of these areas, especially Long Island, could be a little bit of rain or mix. So that's why I kept totals down a little bit there. If anything on that part changes, obviously we'll go ahead and we'll bump up those totals or remove those totals. It's obviously something to closely monitor, but models have been pretty consistent, especially today. Euro will be big tonight. We'll take a look at the European and see if it holds its ground. Obviously, it's the most bullish. However, the EUCMET also does have a decent swath of precipitation in generally the exact same area. As we go down into the mid-Atlantic, I think your shot at snow is going to be after our first wave pushes through on its axis. We're going to see that energy around the base of the trough. Now, if we can get a closed upper level low and get a little bit of energy to roll in prior to the progressive flow pushing it out, I do think you could see some enhanced snows as the low starts to try and develop, and that's where you could see your snow drop, your 3 to 6 inches of snow. Everyone else, I think you're around 1 to 3, dusting to 3, somewhere in there. It's not going to be a major disturbance, but there's still opportunity there. Can it change? Absolutely. We could go to nothing. But these are thoughts as of now. I'll keep on tweeting tonight. We're going to take a look tonight. I'll probably do a Periscope tonight. I might even do the Euro or the GFS. I haven't decided yet, but we'll take a look. Other than that, I really appreciate, again, as usual, for everybody that tunes in, has signed up for premium. The 7-day trial, we extended it out a little bit. When that's over, hopefully everybody continues. It's only $14.99 a month, and we're going to keep it like that. And we'll do these videos. We try to put these videos out every day. We keep the website up to date. So I'll also have a write-up on the system, and then I'll put a model analysis and synopsis out tomorrow morning on the overnight runs. But these are the thoughts as of now. So again, I appreciate it, and everybody have a good night.